Smartwatches for everyone, Netflix trims its library, and artificial intelligence makes actual art. Or does it? Tech News Tonight is next.
This is Twit.
This is Tech News Tonight, episode 414 for Monday, August 31st, 2015. This episode is brought to you by the new Epson Workforce printers powered by Precision Core. Workforce is an award-winning line of all-in-one printers for your home office, small to large business, or corporate work groups. Visit Epson.com to find out more. Welcome. I am Megan Maroney. Let's get to the tech news. Today, Samsung unveiled the new Gear S2 and the S2 Classic smartwatches. The wearable will be Tizen-powered, round, and feature a battery that lasts 2 to 3 days. T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon, and U.S. Cellular have all said they will carry the watch. LG and Sony also showed off new smartwatches today. If you have $1,200 burning a hole in your pocket, the LG Urbane Luxe looks very nice. If you're into something simpler, the $349 LG Urbane is nothing to sneeze at, especially if you have an iPhone. An iPhone? What? Yes. Today, Google released an iOS app for Android Wear, and you can pair your Urbane with your iPhone with their free app. The app will let you get notifications, and it gives you access to Google Now, which you will not find on your Apple Watch. Now, if you have used this app with your Android Wear today, let me know what you think. You can email me at megan@twit.tv or post on our Tech News Tonight Facebook page. If you have Netflix and you're a fan of The Hunger Games or Rocky, you better watch them fast because they will be gone by the end of September. Yesterday, Netflix announced that their deal with cable and satellite television network Epix will expire at the end of this month. Next month, September, Netflix says they're more interested in exclusive quality content and have inked deals with Sony Pictures Animation, Universal Pictures, and DreamWorks Animation, as well as an exclusive deal to be the exclusive U.S. pay TV home of the latest new movies from Disney, including Pixar, Lucasfilm, and Marvel. Netflix says these films will arrive on Netflix faster than traditional arrangements had previously allowed. Meanwhile, if you're still itching for your Hunger Games or your Rockies, you can find those on Hulu, who just inked a deal with Epix. Coming up, I'll talk to Selena Larson about artificial intelligence that creates great art. No severed ears required. But first, this episode is brought to you by the new Epson Workforce printers powered by Precision Core. Now you can do business better and leave laser printing in the dark. The new Epson Workforce printers use ink, not laser toner, yet they're more efficient. The cost per page is up to half of a color laser printer. Epson developed new print chip nozzles that they call Precision Core. They fire nearly 40 million dots per second, precisely delivering the most appropriate amount of ink to achieve high-quality, high-speed printing. You get print shop quality with vibrant colors and clear, crisp text. The high-resolution Epson print chips are one of the fastest inkjet printing technologies in the world. Workforce printers make mobile device printing easy with workgroup connectivity and incredible dependability that you know from Epson. Epson Workforce printers help you cut costs without compromising quality and keep your business moving forward. Here are some reasons to choose Workforce with Precision Core rather than a laser printer. Unlike laser printers, there's no warm-up time. You can print on a wide range of media. They're energy efficient. Epson has developed the next generation of inkjet performance that's beyond laser. So go to Epson.com today. Find out what the new Workforce printers can do for you and your business. That's EPSON.com. Epson, built to perform. We've been talking a lot on this show about the amazing things that algorithms are capable of. They can find an image of a loved one buried deep in our photo library. They can replace distracted drivers behind the wheel, create smarter digital assistants. Selena Larson from the Daily Dot is here to tell us about research in Germany. They used a deep neural network to create great works of art. Welcome, Selena.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
So tell us a little bit about how this works. Tell us a little bit about this research.
Yeah, so basically it's cool because they use machine learning to separate the style of an image from the content of an image. And basically how they do this is they teach computers to recognize different images. It's similar to like Google's Deep Dream software or other facial recognition technology where they feed millions of images to this network, and then the network analyzes it and begins to learn the content and style of each of these images. So layer by layer, it goes through these different networks, these different layers, and it takes a look at little small details of the image all the way up to analyzing the different objects of the image. And what's really interesting and unique about this research is scientists have actually found a way to separate the two by adding basically a hack on top of the neural network and separate the style from the content. So what ends up happening is they can get the style of an image and apply it to any other image. And what you're looking at right now is they took a picture of a street, of a row of houses, and then they applied it to all of these different art, basically, styles. And so you can turn any image into something that looked like Monet painted it, or Van Gogh, or Gauguin, or any of these really famous artists.
So it would be great to be able to turn all my selfies to make them look like Picasso or Van Gogh, depending on the day. But are there some other different uses for this?
Yeah, so theoretically, I mean, right now researchers obviously did this with paintings and photography, but what they could do theoretically is the network could be fed 1 million images of, let's say, architecture, 3D renderings of architecture, and then they can separate the style of the architecture from the actual building. So you can program a computer to say, I want to build a house in the style of Greco-Roman architecture, and then the output would be your house, but it would look like it was built in the Roman times. So things like this, these different applications, they have applications across architecture, different types of engineering. One of the researchers that I was talking to even said this concept could apply to music too. So the possibilities are really endless.
So are they going to release this for anyone to use?
Yeah, so I'm actually not sure if it's live yet, but they are definitely planning on releasing this open to anyone, so anyone can have access to the code. You might have seen the Deep Dream hacks kind of going around where people would play around with Deep Dream to see how crazy the images would look. And the researchers are planning on doing it for this as well.
So yeah, I've seen some of that, but I guess is there potential for this to be bought by a big company and not be released, and be something that would be more private?
I wouldn't say this particular research necessarily. However, one of the people that I was speaking with yesterday, or on Friday, was kind of talking a little bit about the importance of making sure this technology stays out in the open. So like we've seen with Uber, they sort of scooped up all of Carnegie Mellon's AI team and to work on the self-driving car project. And the possibilities that a lot of private companies could do with this technology is really endless. But I think that by putting it out in the open, like Google did with Deep Dream, or any number of these machine learning technologies, I think it really presents really cool opportunities for people to play around with it and learn about it. And not only that, but it lets the public have a better understanding of machine learning and deep learning. When you think of like neural networks or machine learning, it can be very intimidating and very confusing. And even, when I was reading this paper the first time around, I didn't really have quite the grasp on what it means, right? So when you're reading this like very scientific papers, it can be a little bit complicated, but when you break it down and say, oh, what this actually means is you can separate style from content of an image, it makes it sound a little bit more accessible and a little bit more easier to understand for the general public. And I think because our future is going to have so much machine learning, so much artificial intelligence, we're only at the beginning right now. But the more this can be out in the open and the more people can learn about it, I think it's not so much, I think one of the people said it's not so much like this Terminator style or the Terminator thought of what artificial intelligence can be.
What if they're just letting us play with it to lure us into thinking that it's not like the Terminator, but it really is?
That is frightening. But I would say in the course of my research for this, I've actually found a lot of industries already using artificial intelligence. For instance, like the insurance industry is using it. If you think of the possibilities of like what banking can do with machine learning and finance and all of these different industries, it's not just like tech and art and architecture, but it's really broad. And the discoveries that we're making today are going to be impacting the industries and of the future. And it's really interesting. And I think it's important that we all become aware that this is happening and kind of understand as best we can. It's not just, it's not just Uber and self-driving cars, but it's tech that could potentially impact jobs or industries like art.
Right. I mean, I do think that this is the case with so much technology. I was just joking about the Terminator, obviously, but it does bring up some really big questions, some ethical questions, especially when we're talking about self-driving cars. There's a lot of questions about, when you're a driver, you're a human driver, sometimes you have to make decisions on, am I going to turn this way and kill one person, or am I going to turn this way and kill 5 people? I mean, that's the big thing that, we're going to be depending on algorithms for those questions. So I think that, all of this stuff, when we see, algorithms can create art, then how do we know what's good art and what's bad art if it's all created by a machine?
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's kind of the exciting part of it too, right? So when all of this new technology is enabling us to create new and different things that we've never experienced before, and a Cézanne can become something that anyone can make, with the touch of a button, it really raises questions, sort of these existential questions that we might not think of when we, think of building new technologies. Like, what is beauty? Who defines beauty? How do we know what's beautiful? How do we know what's really meaningful? And who places meaning and value on outputs that are generated by machine learning and neural networks? So I think that that's also something that we have to be thinking about, not just the technology itself and what we can create with the technology itself, but sort of establishing these standards or placing value on things like art, because already art is very hard to value. It's like fashion, right? Something that's in style and could cost thousands of dollars one year. The next year, or even like in the spring, it's something that's completely different and it's on sale. So again, it really raises these sort of personal questions that are kind of exciting to think about, but no one really knows the answer to, at least not yet.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting when you're talking about beauty in general. I don't know if you saw those pictures going around. There was that they had taken two actors or two actresses, like two beautiful people, very beautiful people, and somehow used an algorithm to put their faces together. And then it was weird. Sometimes it was just that kind of uncanny valley of, wait a minute, like it just makes you question, like, is beauty and math, how do they relate to each other? Mm-hmm. And then you point out also, you make a good point of the snafu that Google had with Google Photos a couple months ago, where they were tagging all the photos, and some African-American teenagers saw that their photos had been tagged as gorillas. And so, you point out that algorithms are not necessarily they have a ways to go until they're as smart or sensitive as humans are. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's something that we have to be really conscious of when we're building these things in, right? Like, how are these algorithms reading things? How are these neural networks, how are they analyzing the millions of images that are being implemented? Because they don't have necessarily reasoning or the soft skills to say this is a person versus this is a dog. All it knows is what the machine has been taught. So that's another definite issue that will be raised, I'm sure.
Right. So it sounds like this technology knows this is a Van Gogh, this is a Picasso, but this is not. It doesn't know if it's beautiful. That's for us to decide still.
Exactly.
Well, Selena, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to have you. Selena Larson is a staff writer at The Daily Dot and on Twitter at Selena Larson.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Take care. And finally tonight, if we can turn our selfies into works of art, then we're going to need more selfies, especially of our pets. Enter PetBot, not a robotic pet, but a robot that lets us better communicate with our pets when we're not at home. The Next Web reports that PetBot uses pet-official intelligence to allow your furry friend to communicate with you when it wants to. So sure, you could get a camera to track your cat, but what about your cat's privacy? PetBot uses facial recognition software to only take a selfie of your pet when your pet interacts with the robot. So I guess that's your pet giving consent. I'm not sure. If you're interested, you can go fund the Indiegogo campaign for PetBot. And that is it for this edition of Tech News Tonight. You can also subscribe to the show at twit.tv/TN2. You can write to us at tn2@twit.tv. And of course, you can watch live every weekday at 4 p.m. Pacific. And don't miss our morning news program, Tech News Today, every weekday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. I'm Megan Maroney. Thanks for watching.
Bandwidth for Tech News Tonight is brought to you by Cashfly.com.